I decided to make a video and also transcript it in writing for those who may prefer it. Sometimes it's easier for me to read something. Other times it's easier for me to have some kind of audio playing in the background, whether it be a documentary, something enlightening, something educational, a comedy, something like that. I've taken the past few days to dedicate to meditation and Capoeira training. Um, I find the two combined is very beneficial. Both can be a great tool to help dust off the mind and sharpen the mind. Meditation helps to cleanse away the contamination we accumulate through our daily lives from the external world, and we become more awakened and aware. A wonderful teacher in St. Pete, Fred Epsteiner, who teaches Zen and teachings from Thich Nhat Hanh, told a story of a rather intense young man who was having a lot of trouble meditating, and his mind was racing with all kinds of thoughts. He felt he was just not good at meditating. And the teacher responded, "It's not about being good at meditating or rating yourself in that way. It's about being a good person." I should note that two main teachers I have directly learned and studied Buddhist philosophy from are Bhante Dhamma Wancha, who is master monk at the Dhamma Wheel Meditation Society, who teaches Theravada Buddhist teachings, and Fred Epsteiner of Florida Central Mindfulness. Both are local to the Tampa Bay area. You can find the links in the description of this video. Meditation is used to develop concentration, clarity of mind, integration, wholeness of mind, and once that mind training has been endured, to look deeply into it. It helps us develop practical insights to daily life. I feel it is one of my responsibilities to share the knowledge I have discovered, and what I'm telling you is nothing new. The wise ancients have been telling us for several eons. And if by sharing that knowledge, someone's suffering can be alleviated, or someone in any way can be helped, then there's been something accomplished. To quote Buddha, "Believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who said it, no matter if I've said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense." Some background information. When taking refuge, I was given the name Sarasvati by the 37th throne holder of the Draikang lineage, the one they call His Holiness Draikang Kayabgon Chetsang. Sarasvati is a Hindu goddess of knowledge and the arts, and she was also known for writing philosophy. Often when I'm in meditation, I write and I later share. I don't expect anything in return for this service. It's something done of selflessness, and I should probably take some time to do it more than I have. Do I sometimes get wrapped up in ego? Perhaps I express myself in artistic ways with my physicality, projects, and production, and that is a form of ego. I'm definitely not denying that. We can't escape it. And also, do I occasionally have the capacity to feel emotions that cause me to suffer just like anyone else? The answer is yes to both of those. I am not less than nor greater than. Because of the training I have gone through, what I've learned, and how appreciative I am of the teachers who taught me, I may be able to assist others when the opportunity presents itself. And not to push anything on anyone, but to let others know people are here if you need them. The focus is in well-being, and I'm still just starting out. There is a long journey ahead, and that's what it's all about, the journey, this moment right now, not the past, not the future, and certainly not the destination. It's important to approach experiences with a beginner's mind, a fresh mind, even when it's with something that we know or something we've done 1,000 times. There is so much we can still learn, so much we can still refine. You might notice some older people have dense, stubborn, unopened minds, and because they've stuck themselves there, I've noticed that they don't learn anything new. Actually, come to think of it, I've come across several people of all kinds of different ages who are like that. Something I've recently pondered: can we resolve our weaknesses through meditation? And the answer is, of course. Any one of us can. But that still doesn't mean we won't have weaknesses. Same for all of us. We are all different. That's one of the things that makes life so beautiful. And on that note, we are all different. The question comes up, can it be strengthened to the point where someone who has a natural capacity, can we have that same capacity? And maybe not in the same way, but it can be strengthened and as we work on it. I'm going to share something with you on a personal note. The reason why I recently pondered this is because I tend to have a mental handicap with time and being on time. If I'm not fully conscious of every minute, I reach this state in my mind where time just doesn't seem to exist. It's kind of like when people randomly fall asleep. Luckily, I've learned to use the tools I need in order to be more conscious of time, and that's simply being conscious of every passing minute. When I need to be someplace, I just have to be conscious of every minute that passes. But something came up, a situation, and I was a little bit spineless and dishonest at first. The morning I was supposed to come into a call at a venue my business agent had arranged for me, I awoke to find my laundry room flooded and my refrigerator was no longer working. Suddenly, I began working to fix the problem, getting a new refrigerator and fixing the washer, and forgotten all about the call until much later in the day. I could have called when I realized my mistake, but I didn't. And the next day I came in, the person who hired me was not there. I did what I was supposed to do, and I was hoping that nobody would notice. And at the same time, I knew it was wrong and I was not facing the issue. I was being spineless. I eventually called the person who hired me and honestly explained everything that happened. I still have the job. Usually, when I'm faced with situations, I'm not spineless or dishonest, but my mental deficiency of time has been very difficult throughout my life. So if anyone knows of any great Android apps I can get, please let me know. That would be awesome. I'm currently doing very well with it and haven't had any recent incidents with work besides that. Any assistance is greatly appreciated though. It's important to accept who we are. except people will have greater capacities than us. And to move in a particular path, we need to develop enough skill to accomplish whatever we need to accomplish. Calling it a handicap or deficiency is not a reflection on me. I'm not less than. It's not a personal deficiency, because that's where we tend to take things. It's a beautiful thing to objectify oneself, but we tend to identify with these particular flaws as if we can't change them if we wish to. It's all just a bunch of characteristics. Whether we struggle with something to whatever degree, it really doesn't matter, as long as we come from a place of acceptance and honesty. I think we tend to identify with ourselves too much with our successes and failures. Like I had mentioned before, when Fred was telling the story about the young man who had difficulty meditating, like he said, it's not about grading or rating yourself. All that emotionality that comes with us, that comes with it and us, when we do that, mostly tends to get us absolutely nowhere. If you take yourself out of your story, out of your drama, what happens then? You won't be so deep in the intensity of emotion, so deep in the drama of anger, the drama of fear, resentment, sadness, or whatever you may be going through, because you see it from a clear, detached perspective. I'm not saying you should ignore your emotions or pretend you don't have them. In fact, I encourage the acknowledge and embrace of emotions, but maybe at the same time to be able to see them with a clear perspective. The more we can let go, the happier we will be. This is the Bodhisattva way. What's interesting about this is people that are so wrapped up in their own egocentricities don't believe this. They believe as long as they serve themselves, they will be happy. But that's simply not true. A person doesn't have the world to revolve around them. We are just a tiny microfraction to all of this. We are just one of thousands of people we interact with. When I'm running the lighting board or spotlight, I am just one of 20,000 people at the show. As long as someone thinks they're the center of the universe and you aren't concerned with anyone else, you will be very, very much alone. Some people don't know how to respond to kindness, and I find that unfortunate. Some people mistake kindness for weakness, and they tend to walk all over people. But kindness is not weakness. It's far from. And when situations like this occur, that's when boundaries need to be set. And you can have compassion and an open heart while doing it. It can prevent your suffering and theirs. People that are always sweet don't have depth. It's important to have a healthy mind when being faced with circumstances so we can respond intelligently. If the opportunity presents itself and we can approach people in a skillful and open way, a way that they may understand, a way they might comprehend. In society, we have to deal with people of many characters, but if we confront them and not their characters, that can make a difference. Instead of reacting, we must gain calm and patience in order to respond intelligently. We will all have anger from time to time, but how we deal with it is so important. Perhaps we have come across people in which we are very thankful they are out of our lives, and then we are later faced with a drama, perhaps. We're faced with a situation where we feel we may be getting pulled back into their drama. Drama is self-created, and we don't have to participate in it, and we can kindly respond as so, and then let it go. Those who know how to respond will attain insight. It can be a slow development. I also want to touch on the Bodhisattva philosophies of how people can protect others. People really should protect others by not causing harm to anyone. You can still protect someone without causing harm to another. They say Socrates was not enlightened, but he was on the path. One of my favorite stories about Socrates is his wife would get very angry when he would read and write all the time. And one night she was angry and took a pot of water and poured it on him. And calmly he said, "It was thundering, now it's raining." Things are constantly arising and falling in nature and all around us. The sun arises, provides life every day, but it never asks for anything in return. It never says, "After everything I've done for you, you never give me anything." It just does its thing. Such is true nature. When we take time to truly understand ourselves, we can make significant advancements. Positivity creates a domino effect and thus reaffirms the importance of responding. We must observe physical resistance, which can be done with mental resistance. When the monks would do walking meditation and others would push them, they would use mental concentration to push them away. This was later known as karate. African slaves in Brazil used dodges and fluid movements to break free from slave owners, which later became known as Capoeira. In Capoeira, we are taught to respond calmly in order to be effective, and I would imagine that the same in many martial arts. By responding calmly, we can come closer to our enlightened nature and gain insight. It's a good characteristic to correct mistakes always. Many times it's wise to remain silent, but it's not always good when response is important. We can let our inner enlightened nature we all possess direct and guide us. Never react for any reason, only respond. With pure intention, the ways of responding are very fluid. We are responsible for activities in our daily life. We must be aware of our calmness as negative situations will arise in our life. It takes time to cultivate ourselves, but it's about the journey, not the destination. This moment, right now. Everything we say and do are a reflection of our internal perception, not the outside world. When you have a problem with anyone, that is based on your own perception. And if you look deeply at the situation, you'll find the problems are based on your own perception. You. No one can fit into your mind. Everything we do, everything we say are a reflection of our internal perception, not from the outside world. When you have a problem with anyone, that is based on your own perception. If you look deeply at the situation, you'll find the problems are based on your own perception. You. No one can fit into your mind. They are too big to fit in there. So it's almost absurd. Perception is our projection. Your memories are based on your perception, and that doesn't change the facts of what happened in a situation, but you can change how you reflect upon it. I am sure there's been situations in your life where you perceived someone's actions or words and found out later they didn't mean how you perceived it. Perhaps you may have recognized patterns in your perception and preconceived notions. You can break cycles and let go. Perception is everything. When you understand how to respond to the world, you can make any changes you wish to. Your perception is based on you, and you have the ability to let things go. The only person you can change is you. What is important is now, not then. Be gentle with yourself. Love yourself.